Men, women, masterminders, binaries, trinaries, whoever. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good God, it's a tough wake up today. Holy smokes. Feel like that last night I got about 1 minute of REMs or some crap. Guess I'll be taking a nap today. Hey, I want to talk to you about what I learned from Grant Cardone. It's not that I didn't know this, but it's always great. I love it when somebody just reinforces something and you really kind of like it, really just opens your mind up, or you're like, wow, that is so true. And so, yes, this last week, I told you I was in the 5-day Unbreakable Challenge, and all the videos are live today. If you want to learn something on a Sunday that might have a big impact on your year, it's unbreakable2023.com/live. unbreakable2023.com/live. Powerful stuff. And so what Grant said is this: you do not have a money problem. And he's like, the it's not the what, it's not the how that's the problem. How to get the money is not the problem. What you got to do to get the money is not the problem. What Grant said is it's the who. In other words, it's obscurity is the problem. Obscurity is the root problem of not having money. If you're in business and you sell stuff for a living, hopefully you do. If you don't, I'm not sure what you're doing here, but maybe you want to sell stuff for a living. Okay, so you're in the right place. So anyway, he said obscurity is the problem. So it's not what, it's not how, it's you got to start with understanding what the problem is. The problem is not enough people know you. Now, the other things go along with it. Yeah, you got to have really great offers. Yes. And a great offer can attract an audience sometimes. You got to be able to sell them. Like once they show up, you got to be able to get money. You got to be able to sell, right? But the root problem, the core of it is just obscurity, people not knowing who you are and not having enough visibility, not having enough exposure, right? So good morning to you. Happy Sunday. How are you? I've been working on a little bit on a sales letter this morning. I'll be watching American football most of the day or the afternoon tonight, and taking probably too many naps in the process. This thing though about, I always think, you see, we're on this endless search for techniques for this and that and the other and methods and all of this. And sometimes just understanding what the root or the core problem is changes a lot, right? Because sometimes what you think you need is not what you need, right? Like what you need is to not be obscure. What you need is for people to know who you are. And then you need a good offer that will convert people to sales. Of course you do. Of course you do, right? But to me, this is a big insight. I don't know if it's a big insight to you or not. Is this an insight to you? Do you care about this? I'm just curious. Let me know in comments. How are you this Sunday morning? What's happening in your world today? What are you doing today? So I wrote in my sales letter this morning. This afternoon, I'll be watching American football. We'll be going to church here in a little bit. Take my wife. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at on this. For me, I think it's a great insight, because if you're trying to solve the wrong problem, it ain't going to work. And the number one problem you got to solve is obscurity. That's why I teach to prioritize your audience building first thing every morning, which is a challenge. It's hard. I mean, it's effort. It's definitely effort. But it makes sense. In fact, Grant prioritizes it so much. He's like, you get your money in, 40% goes to the IRS. He's like, the next 40% goes back into your marketing and your sales and everything and your business. And then you live off of 20%. That's how he prioritizes money, right? But he wants to have money there for marketing and advertising, although you don't have to spend money to get known, right? It's the focus on it, the intention on it. And then, yeah, I think getting good methods. You got to have good methods, right? I talked about this in my MMM newsletter yesterday. I talked about how do you get attention? What are the elements that get attention? And some really incredible, amazing freaking research that's been done on this. I mean, by people that have just crushed it. It's fascinating stuff. It's interesting stuff to me. So anyway, give me a shout out if you're watching on replay. Type replay. If you're watching live, type live. If you're watching the bitter end, type bitter end. Your interaction helps us get exposure. If you all don't interact, then nobody in our group sees the freaking live streams. So your interaction helps us get exposure. Only 1/5 of your revenue. I'm just telling you, that's what Grant said. Grant is like, he's like 40% goes to the IRS. He's like 40% goes to your business and spend as much as you can on marketing and advertising and retain and live on 20%. Yeah, that's what Grant says. I think that's hard to do. I think that's a challenge. But he's like, if you can't do that, he's like, you got to increase your top line. And I understand his point, right? In other words, he's just talking about being really, really aggressive in business. All right. Well, that's how you make money, right? I mean, it's like TJ Rowlier says, the people who are most aggressive are the ones that make the money. In general, it's a simple thing, right? I don't like the guy. I don't believe 1 minute what he's doing. Oh yeah, hold on just a second. Let me get over here to my Facebook group. Let's see here. Well, Leon, that just makes no sense whatsoever freaking ever to me, but it's your right to like or not like whoever you want. But I just don't see it that way whatsoever. Grant's a great salesperson and marketer. He's very, very aggressive. He makes a mistake here and there. A lot of the criticism of him is totally and completely unfounded, in my opinion. But it's whatever, you can learn from whoever you want, right? You can learn from whoever you want. There's a lot of people out there you can learn from, right? There's nothing not to like, in my opinion, about Grant. He stands for aggressive sales, aggressive marketing, but he doesn't stand for doing anything illegal or immoral. In fact, he's very much believes in doing things that are legal and more and ethical and moral. So, but there's a lot of because he's very polarizing. A lot of people say things about him that, in my opinion, are completely untrue. And although, yeah, he's made a mistake here or there, and so forth. But that's not our focus today. Our focus today is, this is what I learned. And if you don't buy into the idea that you don't have a money problem, you have an obscurity problem, I don't really know what to say. I mean, it's your right not to buy in. It's a person's right not to buy into it. But it's like Grant showed when his Google Trends line versus his income line, going from 2010, having a Google Trends exposure of 2%, going way the heck on up. And he showed his money line going up virtually in parallel with it. I can tell you my own experience bears that out. The bigger your list is, the more people that know you, the more people who know what your products are, who you are, what you sell, where to buy it, the more money you make. The less people who know you, the less people who know what products you sell, the less exposure you have. For the most part, the less money that you make, right? I mean, there's always exceptions to every rule, but you don't live by exceptions. You don't build your business by exceptions, at least not until you hit millions. When you hit millions, you can change that up. So, good morning to you. Happy Sunday morning to you. Hope everything is going good for you this Sunday. Hope you have some great plans today. Hopefully you're resting some today or chilling. For me, I like American football, so I'll be liking American football. And so I'll be doing that. And worked a little bit on a sales letter this morning. And I guess that's about it. How are you all doing? What's up in your world today? What's going on? Anyone else got any comments this morning? If you do, let me know. If you don't, we'll probably wrap this up. But my thought for today is this. Are you in obscurity? If you're in obscurity, people don't know you. What's your plan to get out of obscurity for the new year? How are you going to get out of obscurity, right? What is it you're going to do? The book I like most by Grant Cardone was the 10X Rule, because he talked about 2010 and how he got out of obscurity. When the car market crashed in like 2008, the car sales were cut like in half. And so his business went from like $1 million a month to $500,000 a month. And he's like, I can't support my staff. I can't support my employees. I'm going to have to change. And he decided to go broader with his business and to do sales training and so forth. So that's when he wrote his first book. And he started then pushing, but not just that. He started doing, he published like 3,000 articles, I think, a lot of, so tons and tons and tons of social media posts. So I followed him then. I was following him then and observing this as it went on, because I bought that very first book, Sell or Be Sold, really great book. And but whatever he did is maybe irrelevant to you. The point is, how are you going to get out of obscurity? What are you going to do this year to make people know who you are, what you sell, what your products are, and so forth? How are you going to up that? How are you going to up that, right? So, all right, guys. As you say, let's see here. Are you say you like things or you don't? Let's say I keep out of the way. However, if you're not, no, I don't really. Let me see if I can read that on the Facebook group. I'm not sure I know what that comment means. Hold on here. Let me get back over here. All right. Are as you say like things or you don't? Let's say I keep out of the way. I don't, honestly, Liam, I don't know what that means. How were the cookies? Well, what cookies are you referring to? I don't know what you mean by that. And yeah, I don't understand that comment. What I can say is this. If people don't know you, how are they going to buy your products or services? So if you want to sell a bunch, you got to be known, right? The more known you are, typically the bigger your list is. The bigger your list is, every time you send out an email, the more people open it, the more you click, the more clicks you get, the more you sell. Oh, my wife is an incredible cook. She had chef training, and she's just unbelievable. Like, everything she cooks is just delicious. Actually, yesterday we had pancakes. She fixed pancakes, and a friend whose parents have a farm gave us some bacon that was unbelievable. I try not to eat bacon. It's really high in saturated fat, but it was freaking out of this world. It was incredible. She's an awesome cook. She's really just unbelievable. So yeah, it was delicious. I probably ate too much, right? Anyway. All right, that's all I got. If you're in obscurity, get out of obscurity. Figure out how are you going to get known? How are you going to get people to know you? That's the real point here. The way I do it, I have my 20-minute promotions. If you're not familiar with that, resellertoolkit.com/20-minute. I have that. We have social media on fire. We have just what I'm doing now. You do live streams. You can do books on Amazon. I broadcast this over in multiple places. You can have affiliates promote your products and services. You can do guest posts. There's 1,001 that you can do YouTube videos, which is really awesome channel, right? You got to kind of find what works. You can write for Medium and LinkedIn Pulse and all these places. There's 1,001 things you could do to get known. You have to find what works for you. If you're a writer, write. If you're a talker, talk, right? I mean, pretty much your options are writing and talking or recruiting affiliates to do the same, but to recruit the affiliates, you have to write or talk, right? So it kind of comes down to you either got to write or you got to talk, right? If you can't write and you can't talk, then how are you going to communicate with anyone? How are you going to get the word out about your products and services? And probably the simplest way to double your income is to get double the exposure and create double the products and sell double the products, right? It's probably the simplest, fastest way to double your income. So, all right, guys, you have a great day. I'll see you all tomorrow and get some rest. Bye for now, everyone.